and if that's part of your plan, I am open to you present it, because honestly, I get calls, and commission keeps saying we all do. It's not a me versus them. It's apparent that we all get calls. That goes without saying. But we don't have enough rental spaces in the city of Port Hill, because it's a line, Ms. Cantrell, am I wrong? A lot of times community clubhouse is booked up. And a lot of people call and we just don't have a space. So we do have a shortage of rental spaces. So if that's something you want to do, if I was you, just would take the passive position of saying no. I would say, well, could that be something we work out on our contract if this commission decides to move forward with you? Because it is a need in the community, number one, and we also have our commissioner arguing that people should do for themselves. So on one hand, you can't argue for self and saying we should allow this thing to be free if A, people have the money, and B, you have the space. That is business. And so at the end of the day, if you use that, what I would say, make sure you document how you're using the money that you get back if it's in your new contract, if we go forward with you. Document how you're using that damn money to put back to serve that 70% LMI. Because the way nonprofits work, and a lot of people are into this fact, is not that they don't make no money or make no profit. That profit is to go to the service of the community. And so what you have to demonstrate, and what you should be explaining for me, is how you then transferring this money to the service of those youth, to those, I believe, 43 families and 100 kids. That's what I want to hear. How you then taking this money and using it for your services of that population. So I'm sorry, but I just want to give you my opinion. Any other commissioner have a different opinion than what has been presented from the other commissioners?
Chair, Mr. Waters, you said any other commissioners. You said another commissioner.
Other meaning the ones that who have not spoken, Mr. Rainey, Mr. Owens.
Then we should, when we speak, when we talk, I asked you.
Mr. Waters, I'm asking you to go ahead. I'm asking Mr. Waters, you can go ahead and speak. I say any other commissioner. Mr. Waters, you can go ahead and speak.
I just want to say that there's a clause in the contract that states that I have to be present in that building at all times if the event's going on. So that's what I do. Even though I do rent the space, I'm present at every event. If there's not one event that I'm not there. And also, we have the city gave me a waiver. In case anything happened or whatever, it waived the city of Port Hill and EJB.
When we spoke, I asked you, I said, would you just be able to show me, if you collect the money, be able to show me, put the money back into the program. Then we're not talking about this.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Chairman? Mr. Bragg, yes, thank you, that's in the
I got
Go ahead.
Yeah,
You are their COO, is that correct?
That's
okay.
I like to say that a lot of this stuff that the monetary is our resources. A lot of stuff we had to reach out to the city. The city haven't gave us no kind of resource to help. So money that we obtain, it go back to the kids. We have 3 fellow teams. We take the kids. A lot of these families, they don't have money either. So it's hard on everybody. A lot of stuff we do come out of our pocket. And for the buildings, then people come use it. So, unless y'all got no way to help us do more for these kids, because they're out of hand. That's our focus, is to give them something to do. It's too many guns, too many accidents out here, and everybody talking, but ain't nobody doing. So, our problem is resources. And yes, we are there. And yes, we do let people come in and use the building. And yes, the funds that we use go to the kids. Because when we go to these other places, a lot of these kids ain't got money. We use our money to help them. And no donations from a lot of people in here that got sent and saved. A lot of people go to church, all these people in the community, ain't no help. But we gotta do something about the kids, right? Help us help the kids. That's all. We don't ask for much. But we give them another venue to do other than 24. I mean, unless y'all got other ideas how we can get it, there's a lot of guns out here, these young kids, I mean, it's bad out here, man. We gonna sit here, we gonna talk about, in this building, and then when we out here, we don't care no more? Come on, man. All the citizens, man, we gotta do better for these kids, man. Regardless of this building, because the building going out, it's still gonna happen. We still gonna move. We still gotta help. We can't do it without you people. Period. Thank you.
Yes, Jay, you remember I talked to you, but I told you I was concerned about the limited use of the facility during daylight hours. Because I'm around there a lot. And I told you the program does not function. The building's not in use during daylight hours a lot. So there's room for other organizations to be there during daylight hours. In my opinion, we should look into making these programs coexist. If you're mainly going to be using it after hours as opposed to 8 to 5, because it's not utilized 8 to 5, 8 a.m. to p.m.
What,
But okay, go ahead.
right. The answer, now, like I did before I got in the building, I told you my program was gonna mostly be in the evening. But during the daytime, I'm there doing paperwork. Now my truck, my transmission been out of my truck, so I'll be in there doing paperwork. I mean, during the daytime, then I'll leave there and go to the school, check on students. I got 2 students that's in our program. I'm active in the school. I'm there, checking on them, you know, and come back and do paperwork. So during the morning hours, it mostly be paperwork, or if parents or families contact me and want to meet, we go to the center during those hours. But in the evening is mostly when the program is ran.
Yes,
So
I'm not saying there isn't room to have a private office in that building. I'm just saying that building can be utilized during daylight hours for another program, and you can have a private office. I'm open to making this program coexist to reach out to more kids. I've always been open to that. Now, the next side of this is you also gave us a price list in that public hearing. Whenever you were offering your programs and you told the things that you were going to do, I didn't see the rental thing on there when you were going to charge for the various types of programs that you were going to offer. When you were originally presenting this to us during that public hearing, there wasn't nothing about rental in that. And then relationships. Because in that public hearing, I know, and that's videotaped, and Mr. Brown, in his closing statement, thanked the chairman for letting them know that building was going to be able to be utilized at the public hearing when we first did that. So, I don't
Okay,
really hear
wait,
about
hold on,
relationships.
make this clear, so the public can clearly understand your accusations. Make it clear what you're saying, the chairman did what, cause I wanna be able to understand what you're trying to, say here.
I'm just saying there's a relationship there
Relationship where,
between y'all. I am saying y'all have a pre-existing relationship that you say y'all don't.
okay, so, no, let me explain, since you wanna open this can of worms, cause, no, I'm blunt, and I'm open as a book.
We all know.
That coach ain't serious. Here's the reality of it. Again, and they say this often, in small towns, most of the people don't have relationships. I have another cousin who's my first cousin, and that is still of Cobras. And he'll tell you quickly that I don't make decisions. Part of our conversation was, Mr. Ward, when you first approached me and talked about it, when you approached me and said the first thing on your thing is youth program, I told you I tried to work with my cousin to help him out, right? I don't look for relationships to do my work. I am love for the work I do, but also hate it because of my belief. And I will tell people all the time, I have no blind loyalties to nobody. because I have an interest in an agenda in which I pick that over any loyalty. Because when it comes to dealing with these kids, that's what I am going to do, because that's what my life work has been. Now, as far as relationship or any relation to Mr. Waters, I addressed that earlier. 2.5 years ago, before I ran for chair, if Mr. Waters would have walked by me, I wouldn't have known who he was personally. My sisters did. If you all don't remember, and what a lot of you bring big concerns, oh, he lives in Atlanta, he's not from here. As you all know, I left the city of Cordell for a number of years. And I had to reintroduce myself. And I lost a lot of contacts in relationships. So I had to get to know people. So it wasn't about any relationships where I would not go down the rabbit hole here. But this commission can talk about a lot of relationships as far as awarding contracts and resources. But I spare the public all of that, because this is not the time and place for that. Also, in addition to that, Mr. Waters, what I will say to you about the building, since we're opening this up, when we talk about relationships, I know there's been commissioners that came to you that politically threatened you to several relationships. And so, if we're going to talk about relationships, and let's talk about how some of these commissioners approach Mr. Warren and Mr. Brown told him to several relationships politically, which is unethical. If we're going to give a man the building, and all myself and Mr. Hunt was doing is helping Mr. Warren and EJB develop, as well as Ms. Tanya, who used to be the youth field director. We was going in consulting and helping him do the things that y'all cut him off at the legs for, because he was afraid if he kept relationships with myself and Mr. Hunt that you guys was going to take the building from, based on the words that some of these commissioners made to him. Mr. Brown, am I wrong?
No, sir.
That is absolutely correct. So be careful what you say, Mr.
I said,
Wayne. Be careful. I am talking.
You talking about Ross Reed, though.
I ain't say, I
I
said
said what I
commissioners.
said.
If I said Ross Reed, I was calling your name. I said commissioners, plural. Plural. Meaning multiple ones. So we're going to talk about it. You're going to open up that can of worms. Be careful what you open up. Because at the end of the day, it goes well beyond what you can comprehend. And as far as the daytime hours, I've worked my life to do the same thing you're doing. And I understand in the daytime that it is planning, because the kids are mostly in school. So if the building is quiet during the daytime, that's when you plan. When I worked upward bound at the University of Georgia, Atlanta Metropolitan College, and Georgia Southern, when you walk by all offices, it was quiet. There's a library there because we was planning. And the only commotion when we was being silly and having fun with the coworkers. Now, you think your volunteer base need to be brought up to effectively do more. That's just my one feedback to you. But I have no issues with that building being still and quiet during the day, because your planning happens in the day. Most youth programs will tell you this. Then after school hours, that's when the activity is supposed to be had. I ride by there every now and then and check on things as well. I ride around the city and check on things as well. I don't know what you're doing in that building, because if we hand it to you, I have faith that you're doing the right thing. And if you're not doing it, that's why you're here today, for this commission to make a decision whether they believe or not. It's just that simple. We don't have to keep going back and forth and trying to play, the chairman did this, the chairman did that. When I came here, I knew this conversation was going to get here. And to my best of my ability, I said, I'm not going to open up anything of anything I know. It's been the two over here that's opening up things which, to me, is irrelevant. Because if we're going to point the fingers, let's be clear about what has happened during the year this man had this building. You cut him off at the knees because you was afraid of the motion, the momentum that the relationships had in the way the elections were bouncing. And you saw young people, young black males, moving in a way that they wanted to see this city. And what the old guard always do is try to cut them off at the knees, because they want it their way. So don't come here trying to attack my character and say I did anything out of relations or that relationship. That relationship, y'all got landscaping contracts that's based in relations. Griffin Lumber Company that I was talking about earlier with all the contracts, you have relations. There's always going to be relations in a city with 12,000 or less people. That's the way it cuts. There's always going to be relations.
Now, I wasn't saying this earlier when I was talking, that this all.
Mr. Shepherd, we're gonna allow Mr. Owens to speak.
It's
because he
all-
has not spoken. We gonna, you were finished.
I was
Mr.
not
Owens,
finished.
you finished now.
So-
You have spoken.
So,
Mr.
Jay,
Owens,
like I was.
you have spoken.
Like I
You have
was.
spoken. You have spoken. Sir, you have spoken. Sir, you have spoken. You have spoken. You have spoken. You have spoken. I do this all day, sir. Commissioner Owens, you're childish. Commissioner Owens, you may speak.
I just have a question for you, Mr. Warren. I think what I heard at the beginning of your statement was, and I'll say the word fairness because that's the word you used, but I don't necessarily